What is going on, superstar? This is Angus Fairbairn of Boss Fitness, and welcome to the Boss Fitness channel. Really excited that you're here, and get excited, strap yourself in, and get pumped for an awesome knowledge bomb loaded video. My game plan for today is to share with you the basically 3 key insights into why you're not losing weight. In other words, scenario being that you're hustling along like an absolute boss. You think you're doing all the right things, but you basically plateaued, however long this is for, a couple of months, couple of weeks, maybe even a year or more, and you're really looking to understand why this is happening and how you can actually overcome this lack of progress despite all your best efforts. I find that it usually comes down to 3 key things, and I'm going to paint the picture in terms of 3 key scenarios, and hopefully from that you'll be able to pinpoint what your growth and results killers are and be able to have crystal clear clarity as to how you can actually overcome this, understand why that was holding you back in the past, and what you can be doing to move yourself forward. I'm going to head over to the whiteboard. It's time to drop some knowledge bombs and show some love. Okay, superstar, welcome to scenario 1. So what I have here is a cool little seesaw. Check it out. How good is that? Okay, what's going on here is that in scenario 1, basically the moral of the story is that you're not eating enough and you're hammering out too much exercise. So what this is happening is that it's affecting your thermodynamics. So here you can see that you're exercising a lot. Okay, so this might be in the form of weight training, it could be cardio, it could be group classes, it could be whatever, but basically you're pumping out a lot of energy. So this is why obviously the heavier person is at the bottom of the seesaw, yeah, and over here you've got energy in. So this refers to the amount of food that you're eating. All right, if this is happening, yes, you can achieve initial weight loss at the start, because obviously your body's like, oh wow, look at this, we're burning lots of energy, we need to drop some weight to help handle it. But then the thing here though is that you will experience plateaus. Okay, it's just guaranteed to happen. All right, and then what's actually going to happen here, you can see how scared and shocked this person is that your body is going to think that it is deprived and therefore enter into famine mode. So basically when it comes to your body, understand that it operates out of 2 modes, feast and famine. Obviously when you are in famine mode and you are in this restrictive sort of state like we discovered in this seesaw here, your body is going to start letting go of what's costing it most and follow its internal instincts to be able to keep you safe. So in this case, it's going to start then looking at, okay, what's costing me the most energy here to keep this person safe? And in this case, yes, you'll be dropping a little bit of body fat, but for every kilo that you drop, you will actually be also dropping muscle. Okay, so what this then means is that at best, if you follow this sort of scenario and this is what you've been doing, you'll build a skinny fat body, but you'll never be able to actually get a tight and toned one. All right, if you have any questions on this one here, scenario 1, drop it below, and let's move on to scenario 2. Rightio, so welcome to scenario 2, yeah. And here the scenario is that you've brought about leptin resistance upon yourself, which is affecting your appetite, your ability to be consistent. So understand here that before I get into it, all right, leptin is actually what I call the fuel gauge hormone, and basically what it controls in your body is satiation. Okay, in other words, how full you are from the meals that you eat, and also, when you feel hungry and starvation and that sort of stuff. Okay, so it's a hormone that is produced by fat cells. Okay, so this is a fat cell in your body. Its main role is regulating how many calories we eat and burn, as well as fat storage. So understand though that your fat cells basically have cool chats all the time with your brain. Okay, so here you can see, oh, it's got a chat line, yeah. And normally what happens is that this isn't here, okay? Your fat cells have direct contact with your brain, they're having an awesome chat, and then therefore there's a nice little feedback loop, okay? But in terms of leptin resistance, what actually happens here is that there's a chat line from your fat cells, so obviously you've got lots of leptin, happy days, but it's as if there's a blockage here, right? And therefore there's a negative feedback loop and your brain isn't being taught about it, okay? So what this then means is that that cycle is broken, you'll develop that leptin resistance, and this is a major contributor towards why a lot of people can't actually drop body fat despite the fact that they are hustling away and that they think they've got awesome willpower and whatever, it's actually something internal that's going on. So let's look at it. So how it's supposed to work is that number 1, we eat food, okay? Number 2, fat gets stored temporarily. Number 3, fat cells pump out more leptin. Number 4, brain sees the increased leptin, and therefore the increased leptin is a sign to stop eating. All right, this is how it's supposed to work. All right, and a normal person will actually have this functioning, but as you can see, if you've got leptin resistance, well then, that feedback loop is out of loop, and therefore it's not functioning as it's supposed to. All right. So highlighted in red here you will see that we eat, body fat goes up, leptin goes up, we eat less and burn more fat. So this is obviously the optimal scenario. But what's happening here, and a lot of you can probably relate to this one, is that so for example, you're not eating, or you're just being fairly consistent, but because of how busy work is or whatever, you're not eating, body fat goes down, okay? But then what actually happens is that leptin goes down with that. We eat more and we burn less fat, all right? So this is a massive bummer of a scenario, because it means that by no effort of yourself, you're basically causing a natural process in the body to basically be fucked, pretty much. In other words, not being able to do its thing. This is caused usually by things like chronic overeating or chronic undereating. You not being consistent with your sleep, you taking in far too much sugar in your day-to-day sort of eating, nowhere near enough protein. Like, there's all these different things that can contribute towards developing leptin resistance. If you'd like to learn some more about it, you'll see that I've included it in the description below, so make sure you go check that out if you want to gain some more insight into the scenarios of how leptin resistance works. But this could be a growth killer for you. If it is, feel free to ask a question below and I'll give you some more clarity. Otherwise, let's move on to scenario 3, which is, you can see here we're going to the seesaw again. And what this one basically is that you're eating clean, but when push comes to shove, you're not creating a calorie deficit. So understand that basically at the end of the day, what's most important for creating fat loss is that you are in a safe calorie deficit. So in number 1, we realized that a calorie deficit was being created, but it was far too intense. In other words, you were in a restrictive calorie deficit. Your energy out was obviously pretty large, okay? But your energy in was far too low for what it needed to be. In other words, you went too low too quick. What we want to actually do is actually create a gentle calorie deficit, and I always suggest that you go 20% below what your body requires for maintenance intake. But for scenario 3 here, what's actually going on is that your energy out is obviously on point, okay? So you're exercising, whatever, but what's going on here is that regardless of how clean you think your eating is, you're actually taking in more than what your body needs, and therefore there's literally no reason going on inside as to why your body should let go of fat, okay? So yes, exercising and eating clean, awesome, but because no calorie deficit is being achieved, this then means that the balance isn't there in terms of your thermodynamics, and therefore no fat loss. Obviously, in sync with that, you could also be very stressed as well, despite the fact that this is happening. And if you're stressed, this then means that you've got increased cortisol and decreased testosterone. If this sort of stuff is happening as well, this can be a massive shut-off for fat loss to take place, and can be a huge blunt in your results. So 3 different scenarios. This is usually what it comes down to. The big question is, which of these 3 describes you? And boom, there we go, superstar. 3 scenarios. Hopefully it's given you some really solid insight into why you're not losing weight. So the first one we covered and touched on the whole aspect that was, oh wow, you've actually basically stuffed up your thermodynamics. Yeah. The second one we touched on leptin resistance and why you brought that upon yourself, and basically what's going on in terms of that internal feedback loop. And the last one being that you simply just, once again, stuffed up the thermodynamics. Yes, you're eating clean. Yes, you're putting in the effort there. You might even be buying organic or whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is that because you're giving your body too much food, it's going to store that extra energy, and therefore you're not giving it any means or reason to let go of body fat, okay? Understand that fat loss should be easy. It should be very enjoyable, and it should be flexible and full of lots of awesome food, and you enjoying every day of the journey. And the fact of the matter is that if that is not the case for you, hey, let's change that. Scroll below, check out the link which you'll be able to see, which will take you to my online fat loss course, How to Lose Weight Without Dieting. This is going to be an awesome means for you to be able to understand the fundamentals of how fat loss actually works, and be able to embrace the flexible fat loss lifestyle so that you never have to diet a day again in your future. All right, check that out. Any questions, feel free to post below, and please, if you're a returning subscriber to the channel, make sure that you hit the like button, drop a comment below, let me know what you found valuable. Let's keep the conversation going. If you're a new person to the channel, welcome. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you press subscribe, and you can stay tuned for all my awesome other videos which come out on a week-to-week basis. And then last but not least, make sure that you click any of my social links below. Let's connect and share in each other's journeys, guys, okay? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the works, MyFitnessPal. Would love to connect with you more. But thanks so much for watching. See you next time in the Boss Fitness world. Catch ya.